What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the TG podcast. It's that time again. We're back again, of course. Happy Monday to everyone. Arsenal back as well after it feels like quite a while since we last played. I think Chelsea was the last time you played. So we are back after international break. We've got some big things to talk about today, people. There's been some big news going around Arsenal recently. We know the new director coming in, Andrea Berta. We know yesterday about Gyokeres as well. So talk all about that. And of course, tomorrow night's game, we're back in action against Fulham. So yeah, we got Rory and Luca with us. Hopefully Dom will join us later on as well. But how you boys doing? You all good?
Yep.
Yeah,
Good.
all good, man. All very good, man. Very good.
Are you guys happy that Arsenal's back?
Yeah, I'm happy, man. It's about time. It feels weird, and after a stupid international break, but
Yeah, how was your guys' international break, by the way?
well, it was shit to be honest.
It
Let
was
me out, innit? So
Well, we obviously beat Albania and Latvia, so football's
Yeah.
obviously coming home at the World Cup. So, yeah, we're back.
yeah, we are back, man. We are back, and Haaland's out for the rest of the season, and
Is
yeah,
he?
Yeah.
big news that is.
Which
there.
Is he actually out for the rest of the season?
yeah, because it was pictured with plastic what was it?
Protective boot.
Yeah, protective what Saka had. So
Oh, really?
yeah,
Yeah, but is he out for the rest of the season? Has that been confirmed?
I think so. I could be
That's interesting, man. That's interesting. But it was good international break for us players at least. Obviously, we saw Lewis
Oh, yeah.
Skelly. Fantastic for him. Getting his first ever start, getting the goal and getting man of the match in his first game for England. On the flip side of that, though, we got a few injuries. Well, we got an injury in Calaflori. As we know, Luca, we saw that. He's injured again.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, it's the same old international break, really, guys. But we are back against Fulham. Make sure you guys smash that buttons up as well. And get your thoughts in down below. Big up the chat. I see everyone inside already. Big up to everyone. I'll quickly big up the chat and then we'll move into today, guys. Big up Mohammed. Yeah, we are gonna talk about Leroy Sane in a minute as well. Big up Wookie every single time. Hoping to hit. That's what we're gonna start with. That's exactly what we're gonna start with, to be honest with you, Wookie. We have to say it, yeah, because I mentioned this earlier on my stream, right? Arsenal X Love Island. Arsenal X Tinder.
Love a bit of Tinder, Omegle.
Luca, please. I'm pretty sure this is a bit of you, mate. You know, I'm pretty sure this is a bit of you. Maybe you can apply for this type of.
I applied for it yesterday. I applied for it yesterday.
You applied for it yesterday, yeah?
Yeah, yesterday.
Oh.
I did it last night. I did it last night. Yeah, obviously it's pick and choose, isn't it? So majority of that. Mate, I chose it. See how it goes. See if I get picked, and see where it takes us. But at the end of the day, that's not about that. This is about winning trophies. This is about doing something.
Why did you apply for it then?
I just did it anyway because we know
Man's applying for it.
We know we're not going to win the league. That's why I just did it.
I mean, I was hoping it was a late April Fool's joke, mate. To be honest with you, like, what is this club thinking? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like, do this when we actually win something. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, we are becoming a laughing stock. I'm sorry, people. When people, oh, it's only a bit of fun. It's not a bit of fun anymore, man. We're meant to be a serious football club. Yeah, and when we're doing things like Love Island dating shows and blind dating, like what is going on here? Calling it the big match. What the fuck? It's an embarrassment. It really is, man. And you got people like Luke at AFC applying for it. No, I'm messing Luca, but
OME TV is probably the
It's
highest.
a shambles and it's a shambles.
it's crazy. But yeah. Big up Wookie, big up Jordan, big up Niall in the building, big up Julie in the building. Hope you're well, Julie. Big up Jacob as well every single time, my brother. Yeah, he says peak for Haaland. Yeah, so he's actually out for the whole season. That's madness.
I don't think that's been confirmed yet, actually.
It's not confirmed, but it's rumours.
It's not looking good for him. All right, let's start with this. In fact, I don't know. Do we do transfer news first, or let's do it now? Get over and done with, people. Let's start with this, of course. Me and Rory were speaking about this yesterday, Luca, but of course, love to hear you guys. Yeah, love to hear your thoughts Hold on, let's get us all on the screen. What the fuck's happened here? Hold on.
I talked about this on my Q&A earlier. Anyway, with Tacky and everything.
Yeah, right. Here we go. So yeah, we got news yesterday that Arsenal developing a strong interest in Viktor Gyokeres as they consider their options to recruit a striker this summer. Gyokeres has been a lot of admirer by Andrea Berta and expected to be to figure promptly among those the club consider signing in the transfer window. Arteta is a huge fan of Alexander Isak. However, it would be likely that a massive fee for Newcastle even consider his departure, as we know. Arsenal done also a lot of groundwork on Benjamin Sesko, but it's unclear if they proceed with a move. Gyokeres is therefore now a more prominent candidate than he might have been in the past. So I'll come to you first, Luca, mate. Honestly, coming out and saying that we're very interested in him, as Berta already wants him, but Arteta kind of wants. It's unclear if Arteta wants him yet. He's looking at more Isak. But what do you make of all of this, man? Gyokeres at Arsenal.
I think for me, look, the news which broke yesterday, I touched on it with a few guests earlier on my Q&A show. I think Gyokeres, for me, this news, what David Ornstein's come out and said, is huge news for us. Because with this director now coming, big up to Jordan, but with this news coming in, with obviously Bertha, who is our new director at the club, it sounds very promising that we're chasing Viktor Gyokeres. And we know that Viktor Gyokeres is quality. And if he does come to Arsenal, he's going to be that main priority, that main number 9 target. And I think his price value is maybe around £63 million. That is a lot cheaper. It does work for favour than over Alexander Isak. Of course, look, I think my opinion on Gyokeres, I think he's quality, yeah? I think he's quality. He's not my first choice. Isak's the one who I would have took. But we're not going to spend that type of money, yeah? We never spend that type. I know we did it on Rice, but majority. Gyokeres, even if it means that we don't get Isak, then Gyokeres, of course, has to be the main man next season. Because you have a look at Liverpool, Darwin Núñez come from a Portuguese league. He ended up turning into a flop, right? They paid 100 million. Gyokeres is going to be more cheaper. And look, with this news coming out, we don't know definitely 100% is it going to happen. But if it does happen between him and Sesko, you're taking Gyokeres all day long. I don't want Sesko at my football club. I've never rated the guy because we're not a project club anymore now. He's 21 years old. I don't want him nowhere near my football club. Right, Sesko. Gyokeres has to be the option. We slap him in, right? A lot of people think it's between Arsenal. I can see this deal happening. Honestly, I can see it happening. I don't want to jump into the conclusion that I wouldn't be surprised if Man United end up getting him because of the Ruben Amorim effect. This guy has now scored 42 goals, right? He's made records for himself. Will he do that in the Premier League? Time will tell. And this summer is huge, okay? We say this every week. This summer is massive for Arsenal. Get this guy in to the red carpet, right? Even if it all but means look, if we don't get Isak, then you've got to get this man. Isak, of course, will I be disappointed if we don't get him? Maybe a little bit, yes. But Gyokeres, it's not the end of the world if we do get him, even if we don't get Isak. Because someone said in the comments right here, I'm reading right now, Eric Welsh said, if we...
Yeah, big up to Eric, by the way.
We could have gotten a prime Aubameyang at the time. Can you imagine? Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
A prime Aubameyang, we would have won the league title in that Leicester season. But Gyokeres, we need to get him in. I think for me, he will hit the ground running in the Premier League. And it's about time. This director is not messing about. Let's see if this director is good enough. We've already seen it at Atletico Madrid. Players like Alves, players like Morata, players like Anton Griezmann, right? Get Gyokeres to the red carpet for us. He has to be the first signing. No messing about Zubimendi, this and that. We can deal with that with another time, yeah? Gyokeres is the one we need to go and get because this director, right, get him in now to Arsenal Football Club with Gyokeres.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm with you there, bro. I definitely agree with you on I prefer him over Sesko 100%. To be honest with you. I think he's far more proven than this Sesko guy, but I mean, when you look, Rory, I ask you this in terms of when you look for Arteta's point of view. Like, I know Berta wants him, but it doesn't seem like this manager wants him at the moment, does it? when you read into it. He wants Isak, or maybe if you look in the past, he wants more Sesko.
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult one because with Gyökeres, if you get Zubamendi in the summer, we know the way Gyökeres plays at Sporting, and I've seen a couple of highlight reels, not to judge players based on highlight reels, but you can see that he's been drifting over to the left, right. He drops in deep as well.
Yeah.
And obviously he's picked up a couple of assists, this season, as well as last season as well. So he's exactly who Arteta, I would have wanted Arteta to go for, and who I think would be perfect for Arteta's system. And obviously Zubamendi looks likely that he's going to be coming in the summer. So I'm starting to think, right, okay, Gyökeres is that guy who thrives off transitions. And obviously Arteta values a number 6 who can play out of transition, as we've seen with Partey, as we've seen with Jorginho, and obviously wants Declan Rice to play as the 8. I think that's what he is, what he wants at the moment. That is Zubamendi as the 6 who can break the lines, and then hopefully a Gyökeres up front. So that's the hope I've got, and what he has in place at the moment, because Gyökeres is that guy who I reckon suits a Liverpool, Man United, but he can suit an Arsenal as well when you watch highlight reels of him. And I know you don't base players based on highlight reels, but the reels that you have seen of him, he does drift over to the left, he does drift over to the right. We've seen it countless times with Havertz. So I think he's perfect to what Arteta is looking for. But again, that begs a question, like, does he want Gyökeres, or does he want a player like Sesko, another project striker? For me, we should be getting the finished article. If we bought Sesko 3 or 4 years ago, then I would have actually taken him.
Yeah, same.
When we were challenging for top 4. But now we're in winning territory. Like, we've got to get over the line here. And Gyökeres is that geezer. He's that guy to get over the line. Because, look, we've not replaced Aubameyang, have we? And he left in 2022. The last striker, believe it or not, we signed was in 2018. Jesus doesn't really count because he's more of a winger, I'd say, and he played as a winger towards the latter stages of his career at Man City. So I don't really count him as a striker, and he's not really a goal scorer. So the last goal scorer we signed was under Arsene Wenger back in 2018, and that was Aubameyang. So we need that gunman up front. And I think Gyökeres would be perfect. He epitomizes everything you want from a striker, and I think he would be perfect. But obviously, as Lucas said, he's not really my first choice. I think everyone's first choice is Isak. But 60, 70 million, to me, is an absolute bargain. Like, that is, like, we're talking Haaland money from a couple of seasons ago when Man City splashed like 50 odd million on Haaland, and they won the treble that following season. So with obviously Liverpool potentially losing players, Man City have fallen off a cliff, obviously, but obviously they're still in the running to win a trophy this season, but still in the Premier League, they're not looking too great, and their stars are slowly fading away. This is our best opportunity, because I don't see anyone else going after him, from what I've seen anyway.
United.
And with Berta, right, I can't lie, I like the fact he's just come straight in after, 48 hours, he's just come in, right, fuck the greeting, give me Gyökeres. Whereas if we're talking Edu, if this was Edu in the situation, he would probably be at Waitrose or something, prepping for his barbecue or something. He wouldn't be looking at Gyökeres. So, look, and also don't forget Bukayo Saka. According to Fabrizio, he's looking to
Sign
extend
a new
Saka's
contract. Yeah.
So there's so much going on in these last 3 days since Berta stepped through the door. We've heard a Ornstein bomber, a Fabrizio bomber, and now a Plettenberg bomber. So it's actually looking promising, to be honest. And obviously, Berta is known for signing top strikers to get over the line. I've mentioned this a couple of times. He signed David Villa back in 2014, and they won the title the following season and reached the Champions League final. You look at when they signed Luis Suarez on a free as well. They won the title the following season as well. So you look at their signings, and you go, yeah, that's a good sign that he can get these sort of deals over the line, despite João Felix not working out.
Big up.
But at the same time, it's big money he's splashed on one of the hottest prospects in football at the time. The likes of Barcelona, Real Madrid were all sniffing around for him. Atletico Madrid got him instead, which I don't think anyone was expecting at the time. So, yeah, I like the capability he has of getting deals over the line. And I've got more confidence in Berta getting this deal done than I did with Edu and A2 back in the day. So, yeah, you know what? I do have a strong feeling if we are serious about Gyokeres, we will get him in the summer.
Yeah, I agree there 100%. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at his comment, by the way. Luca, bro.
Always has a target on my back. What is it, Moss, with you, with Jonathan David? Don't get me wrong.
Well, it's obviously Canadian, isn't he?
Yeah, he's Canadian. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. He's a decent player, but he's not the Arsenal to take Arsenal for.
No, but we can get him in another striker as well because we get him on a free.
But will Arsenal do that?
I don't think we would, but
I mean, like, put it this way, right? If you don't get Isak, you go for Gyokeres. If you can't get Gyokeres, you go for Osimhen. If you can't get Osimhen, then you go for Jonathan David. If you somehow can't get him, then I'd probably say Ekitike at Frankfurt. If you can't get him, then you sign Watkins. That's what I would do.
yeah. Yeah, Luca, I wanted to ask you, obviously, because Rory spoke about our new director there.
Yeah.
Did some big things at Atleti, man. You know, signed some big players when they needed them and resulted in them winning a few league titles, man. They needed, I mean, we needed a striker. Atletico needed the strikers in both their seasons, and they got both of them, and they won the league. So, what are you saying with Andrea Berta being officially announced?
Look, I've never seen this director, but I'm going by what people say. But no, I see that in the comments. But anyway, but no, look, I think for me, this sounds very, very, very promising by this director, because what he's done at Atletico Madrid has done absolutely achievable things. Like, think about people like Julian Alves, Morata, Anton Griezmann, all these sort of men. He's brought in Luis Suarez, as Rory's just mentioned. Atleti won the league. I think it sounds a very good, real promising. And he's a lot better than Edu. I never wanted Edu in the first place when we had him, right? Some people were disappointed getting rid of Edu. Look what's happened now. People not targeting Edu. Maybe I was right about something. People who didn't want Edu are right about that. So I think for me, with him coming in, it sounds really, really good. And by seeing that news, normally people look at me and thinking, nah, he ain't coming. Right? But now, I actually think we'll get Gyokeres. And Liverpool will probably end up getting Isak.
Hold on. Let me stop you right there. Who is paying 150 million for Isak?
I'll tell you why Liverpool will get him, because Liverpool will probably end up getting rid of Darwin Núñez, Jota. They have to make some funds somehow. Salah and Van Dijk will stay for another season with an obligation to sign a contract, another second. They want to make some deals, Rory and Josh. They want to end up making some fun. They want to sell. They need.
Yeah, but did you see them paying all that money?
Is, right, Salah and Van Dijk will be asking for sacks of money, won't they, to stay at Liverpool, because those two are their most important players. They are.
Oh yeah, of course. They've been there for 6 or 7 years. But
I can see them selling Núñez though, but Jota, I don't know.
Well, where do you think? But where do you think Isak will go then if he doesn't go to Liverpool?
I think he'll stay.
You think he'll stay?
I don't see anyone paying 150 million for Isak. I just don't see it.
You don't
Possibly when he gets up to, I don't know, his last 2 years of his contract. I think that's when teams will...
If we get Gyokeres, I pray that Isak doesn't go to Liverpool. Because that will
I
pay.
don't think he'll go to Liverpool, though. Because, like, when have you seen Liverpool splash over 100 million on players?
Well, they spent Virgil van Dijk on Alisson. Jurgen Klopp went to the owners, right, the previous owners before FSG, and they went to go and get, right, Virgil van Dijk and Alisson. And look what they've done. They've won everything at Liverpool, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And look, even Tom Red says in the chat, Liverpool won't spend amount of money on any.
Yeah, they won't spend that sort of money.
Well, if he doesn't go to Liverpool, I think maybe, he'll stay at Newcastle. But if he doesn't stay at Newcastle, Barcelona will be knocking on the door because
I think that's where it'll go.
Gyokeres is meant to be the replacement of Lewandowski because now we've got
but hold on, can afford him?
Yeah, that actually, that's true.
Because I swear, are they not broke?
But again, like after this season, he's got like 2 years left on his current deal, so his value could drop.
True. I look at it. I look at it, Luca. Right, the guy just won the League Cup at Newcastle. 5th place is open. I think they'll get Champions League as well this season. Whether it's 5th place or 4th place, or whatever it may be. I don't see him unless people pay for him to leave. Really.
Well, if he gets Champions League football, then he's guaranteed to stay. Why would you want to leave if you won the trophy? Right? They've had a better season than us by adding the trophy onto the mix.
Yeah.
If he doesn't get into that top 5, then I do think someone like a Liverpool resistance or Arsenal will come in and end up snapping Isak, because if it means we're going to go and get Gyokeres, then where does Isak go? Does he go to Liverpool if Newcastle don't get Champions League football, or does he go to Barcelona, replace Robert Lewandowski, right, at an age of 36? Money can talk. Money. Look, Liverpool are a club where they don't spend a lot of money. FSG are the problem, right? But they're winning the league this season because we pretty much have not had a good season, right? And we've got so many points this season. But with Alexander Isak, if he doesn't go to Liverpool and we get Gyokeres and he stays for another season, we have a chance to take opportunity there. And that's why this summer, Berta is not messing about, right? The director. And let's see what he does. Because there's other targets we do need to go and get, right? Nico Williams, wingers, all them lot. These are the positions we have to go and get. And we've got a strip. And I think we need 2 midfielders, right? You get me Zubimendi and another midfielder. You get me Eze from Crystal Palace.
Would you say Cunha?
Yeah.
Cunha's another one as well. Or Gamaras.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it being Cunha, I can't lie. Because obviously Berta signed him when he was at Atletico Madrid.
Well, yeah, he was.
Yeah, he did, to be fair.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
So this is up here. All of these signings, I'm pretty sure, that Berta signed at Atleti. So names here, because I know a lot of people wanted to know in the chat. He did sign All Black for, I think, 12 million. Crazy like that. And now
I thought it was a lot more than that first.
Yeah, apparently it's like 12 maybe it might have been 16, but yeah. And now look at All Black now. I can't believe he's still 25.
What? Who's 25?
Older.
No,
All Black.
He's not.
He can't
25. be 25. He's a lot older than that.
1993 he's born. It is there.
No, he's 32.
Is that age where? Oh, maybe that's the age he signed him then. When he's 25. When he
joined.
Who else you got on it? I mean, he signed Jimenez, decent player. Savic, Godin, Hernandez, Partey, as we know, he signed him.
Yeah.
Koke. Yeah. I think Rodri should be on here as well. By the way, Carrasco, he was a good player. Of course, Griezmann's like the big one.
Yeah,
Costa as well, Diego Costa.
I can see the total value, like the total
Hold on.
amount he spent. If you
He's
scroll all
he's
the way
like
down.
Fernando Torres as well.
Yeah.
He's most ever. Well, hold on a minute. Where's Thomas Lamar and all this then?
Thomas Lamar.
Yeah, because he signed Joao Felix and Thomas Lamar as well, didn't he?
I think so. I'm not sure.
Maybe this is.
Are you sure this isn't their squad? Yeah, you've just listed up their squad from 2018. Look.
Yeah, it says
at the top there.
17, 18, but I went on Berta.
What year did he?
Let me go back.
to Atletico Madrid?
2012.
Got that long?
Because
Jeez.
look, I'm on Berta now, yeah? This is Berta. And I wanted to find all these signings. So I clicked this one, Sporting Director, and it come out of 17, 18, come out of all that.
All right.
So I don't know, man. But anyway, the point is, man, this Berta guy's, he's signed some top quality player.
The thing is,
there we
right,
go.
when you put all of these signings into context, right, the likes of Oblak for 16 million, Griezmann for 25, was it not? Rodri for 25. He hasn't exactly spent millions on that squad, has he?
No.
I mean, obviously he spent the odd 100 million on Felix, 60 on Diego Costa, 60 on Morata. Did he spend 60 million on Lamar as well? So he has had, obviously Alvarez is another one, but yeah, I feel like that is one of the other things I've taken away from Berta as well. Like, he's not had to spend millions to be successful at Atletico Madrid. And I'm going to say this now. I think it's one of the best appointments in Kroenke's reign.
Yeah, because
in my opinion,
considering the other candidates that were mentioned as well, they're talking lots of. Jason?
The
do you know Jason
candidates
Aito was second place, by the way, in the running? Man
Did not
came
know about
second
that.
place. Jason Aito.
I mean, how? I was baffled when I heard that.
If we would have got in, then we would have been finished.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
but you.
Who else was actually? Who else was in the?
That Oli Arby guy.
Yeah, him. I would have taken him, but
Alabi,
I don't think he wouldn't. Would he have been able to start work until
end of the season?
No, he wouldn't have been. No, he would have had to start his role about June time because obviously his contract has expired.
Rosicky was up there.
Oh yeah, Rosicky was mentioned. Mertesacker was mentioned. Dan
Ashworth.
But
they weren't like really. They weren't really like candidates, were they? According
Dan
to
Ashworth.
Ashworth was one of them.
That Monaco guy.
I keep forgetting his name for some reason.
Tiago something.
Ocampos.
Nah, he was never mentioned. I would have loved him, but he was never mentioned though.
Yeah, he's the PSG.
It'd be very hard to get him. It would have been very hard to get him anyway from PSG.
I honestly think Berta is a better appointment than Campos. You know.
So do I. I think he's up there with the top number one.
I wouldn't mind either of them, to be honest. I'm happy with Berta, to be honest with you. There's a question. Yeah, question. Would you big up anyone's got questions? Then we will answer them, guys. So leave them all down below. Anything you want to mention, ask us, man.
Would you take?
Big up Top Gunner. He says, would you take Xavi Simons or Cunha?
We have to pick like between.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind both again. To be honest with you,
or both.
Xavi Simons is where is he? He's still at Leipzig, I think. Yeah, he's at Leipzig.
I'm a huge fan of Xavi Simons.
Yeah, always a baller, man.
He's a quality player. I just think Cunha, because he has that Premier League experience, and obviously we've watched him week in, week out. Berta is very familiar with him as well. I would say Cunha is a better player, though.
What do you think, Luca?
I think for me, out of the whole two, I rate both of them. But if I had to pick one, I'd probably go with Cunha because Cunha's people have already known what he's capable in the Premier League. He's got that experience.
Yeah, 100%. All right, then let's move to a story that came out today by
Leroy Sane.
yes, Florian Plattenberg. How reliable is this guy, by the way?
Oh yeah, he is fairly reliable. To
Oh,
be
is
fair
he?
to him.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's interesting then. I'm not even surprised that we have been linked with this guy, to be honest with you, because
Yeah.
so he says there's been and there still are internal spectics. Is that how you say it? Septics about Leroy Sané's contract extension. However, his performances and commitment are increasingly being recognised. Max Earl continues negotiations and Sané is willing to accept a pay cut. No written offer from Bayern yet. The club must now make a move. Sané wants to stay at Bayern with a decision expected to make in 1 to 3 weeks. But then he says Arsenal was seriously interested in signing him as a free agent in the summer and concrete talks already taken place. I mean, Sané on the free next season. I'll start with you, Rory, bro. I mean, been in the Premier League at Man City. I think Arteta was there with Sané as well, I'm pretty sure. Going back to ex-players again from these Premier League clubs. But on a free agent, a winner, would you take him?
It's a difficult one because I've seen Sané at Bayern towards the latter stages of his career, and his body language doesn't seem right. I don't know if you've seen that clip where the Bayern team are celebrating with the fans, and Sané's just there, all casual, like, well, what am I doing here still? So I don't know. I feel like he's not really the same player as he once was. Obviously, when we last played Bayern Munich in the first leg of the Champions League, that was the only time where Sané actually produced a masterclass, and that was against Kivior at left back.
Against us,
so, yeah, I don't know about this one. I don't really want us to go for players that Arteta has been familiar with in the past. Like, it's not worked out with Sterling. It's not worked out with Jesus or Zinchenko towards the end. So with Sané, I watch him and go, he doesn't really impress me anymore. I think he's lost a whole yard of pace, and his end product is lacking big time. So I don't know. I'm kind of thinking, right, Bayern haven't extended his contract, and why are Arsenal interested? Why is Arteta interested in bringing Sané to Arsenal? So that's something I'm very apprehensive about, like why we are going in for someone like Sané, who, in my opinion, just isn't the same player as he once was in the Premier League. I just feel like the injuries massively derailed him.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because he was a quality player back in his day, but now I think we can get better, you know. I really do. I would even prefer Nico Williams, someone who is more underdeveloped, I'd say, someone who's got room to improve, whereas I think Sané has reached his peak now as a footballer. I think he should go to Saudi and pick up his paychecks and that. That's where he should go. To Arsenal, I think he's past it. I can't lie, but that's just me.
Luca, what do you think about Sané, mate? Do you agree? Do you think he's finished, or would you take him as on a free?
Not for me. Not for me. I don't want him nowhere near my football club. Not for me. Because I'll tell you why. Because this guy...
Not for me.
This is not 2016, right? This is not 2017, right? Heritage, right? We're in 2025, right? Sané, the reason why, right? This fan base will get all gassy over Leroy Sane, yeah? Right? If we get Leroy Sane over Nico Williams, Adamoah Lookman, Semenyo, and all these players we're linked with, we are
Berta out.
Yeah, another one as well. Yeah. we are.
Now, would you be Berta out if we signed Leroy Sane?
No, not convincing. Because he's just come in. He's just come in. But I would be a bit disappointed if it happens. But I think that doesn't come down to him. I think it comes down to Mikel Arteta on this if this one happens, because Arteta liked Leroy Sane when he was at Manchester City as an assistant with Pep Guardiola. And it would just be a bad carnage if we end up getting Leroy. Don't get me wrong, he's got experience, right? But he's reached his peak. You know what I'm saying? It's like, how old is Leroy Sane now?
I think 29.
29, so
yeah.
it's not as old. But
Fair enough.
AFC Africa says, is he better than Martinelli? This season, yeah. This season, yeah.
Can I just say, Luca, before you continue, big up Charlie, by the way, for the super chat.
Hello,
there,
Charlie.
man.
How are you?
Thank
Long
you so
time.
much, bro. He says, big up, Josh. Keep up the good work. Congratulations on 10K. Thank you so much, Charlie, man. And I hope you've been keeping well, man. And keep up with all the live streams on your channel. I know you're going live every day as well. So thank you. Appreciate you, Charlie, man. But yeah, sorry, Luca, you were saying, bro.
Yeah, no worries. But no, big up to Charlie. Keep up the great work, what you do, man. Absolute real one. But no, Leroy Sane, not for me, because we can't be going for these past rejects, okay? Like, when are we going to learn, yeah? Think about Mkhitaryan. Think about Raheem Sterling. You think about all these targets we've gone over. We need a proper winger. If we end up getting Sane over these names I've mentioned, we are finished, right? We are finished. Because I'll tell you why we're finished. Because that doesn't show that Arsenal haven't got a quality winger than Bukayo Saka, right? We need someone who's going to challenge Bukayo Saka. Someone who's actually going to be not better than Bukayo Saka, but we need someone who's going to
give competition.
Real good competition.
But play on the left, though.
Do you not think Sane will give him competition?
No, I don't.
Nah, he would start on the left.
Yeah,
That was his best position at Man City, and I feel like at Bayern he's been. I think he's being wasted on the right hand side. If I'm being honest,
I think Leroy Sane is not the player because it went over the years, even under Wenger in his last season. He used to always score against Arsenal. Sane used to always be a nightmare against us, and I want someone like a Nico Williams. Like, people say Nico Williams is inconsistent. I don't care if he doesn't come in and score goals, right? I want him to contribute and play well for the team.
Yeah,
that's what I want to see. We've got Bukayo Saka, we've got Martinelli, we've got other options. Even Jesus, if he's going to be here next season, which I think he will be, right? You can use him as You can use him as a winger option if we're going to get Gyokeres coming in.
Yeah, I will say this now though. Like, if we were going to get Sane and then a Gyokeres up front, with obviously Saka on the right, then I wouldn't mind, because I said this with Nico Williams, right? I don't entirely rate him, but if he was going to come in as our left winger, surrounded by obviously the likes of Gyokeres, Saka, Ødegaard, I wouldn't mind that. But if he was coming in alongside a Sesko up front, then that's when I'm going to go, okay, well, that's where I think we have messed up, because we have a project striker up front and then we're almost relying on Sane to, cause problems, which isn't his game anymore. Like, I know he has had a couple of appearances here and there for Bayern, but injuries are just a massive letdown. And it is unfortunate. It's not his fault, but he's just not the same, and his body language doesn't look right at Bayern. So would Arteta appreciate that at Arsenal? I don't know. I mean, it could be a case of, right player, wrong club. It could be. I don't know.
Can you see it happening?
It wouldn't surprise me. He's not a player.
I still maintain that Arteta wants Nico Williams, though. I think that's who Arteta really does want.
This comment here just quickly on Gyokeres. He can't do it. He was poor. Gyokeres can't do. He was poor against us.
He did it. No.
And he wasn't even poor against us. Man literally done up Kivio and hit the bar. And I think he had the most shots in the game of any Sporting Lisbon player.
To be fair, right? Anyone can do Kivio, but I think he, in that same passage of play,
he did Saliba, did he not?
Yeah, he did Saliba. But that wasn't his fault.
Exactly.
Yeah, like, obviously Sporting lost Amram at the time. And yeah, defensively they were a shambles. So yeah, Gyokeres couldn't do that much, I'd say, to get Sporting over the line.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I remember last season when we played Newcastle, we battered them 4-1.
Yeah,
He's
100%.
non-existent, and it didn't from wanting to understand why, because all of a sudden, striker and Gabriel, we shouldn't buy them at ball club. So what? Like, any striker in world football can get pocketed by centre backs.
Yeah, 100%,
What
mate.
are we doing here?
Yeah, 100%. Dom's with us. Dom, how you doing, mate?
Hello, mate. Yeah, good. Hey, Luca. Hey, Rory. Sorry to be late.
Up, man. Yeah.
No worries at all, mate. It's obviously great to have you as always. We've just been talking through transfer rumours, man, to be honest.
Oh, are we on until 3 o'clock in the morning?
You know how it is, man. You know how it goes. But yeah, we just
We've only been here for like 5 minutes.
we just
you either got it or you haven't. Rory. You know, it's a bit like I played football earlier, 5-0 win against top of the league. Can't say fairer than that.
Oh wait, you won 5-0, yeah?
Yeah.
Love
And then
that.
I had to come back and do a bit of work, which I've only just finished, which is why I was a bit late.
Not a problem, man. Understandable as always, bro. But at least you won 5-0, man, against top of the league, yeah?
Yeah.
Masterclass.
I'm 5'2", and apparently I managed to slap a player in the eye who's 6'3". But I can't even reach, mate.
You can't even reach him.
I was like, at least if you're going to invent I slapped you, at least make it a body part I can reach. He was like, well, you did slap me. I was like, yeah, but you said it was in the eye, and the ref didn't believe you. If you said I slapped you in the chest, which is exactly why I did punch you, then that would have been true.
Dom, we got a question saying, has Dom applied for the big match?
Oh, this is the singles thing. I'm
the Love
I'm
Island thing.
man.
Yeah,
I'm a married man.
He's a married man.
I've been with my wife for 18, 19 years in total.
Wow, fair enough, man.
Something
fair
like that.
enough.
Been married 13 years this year. I know I look like I'm 12, but you know, Vicar got arrested for marrying underage people.
But
well, I suppose you can get a new sister.
That's a village down the road, mate. They can count to 12 on one hand.
But yeah, Dom, we've just been talking about Sane, possible move in the summer on a free. I mean, Luca and Rory said they don't want him, but I'd love to get your thoughts, man.
I think this comes down to price. And I mean, obviously he'll be a free transfer, but the wages are going to be significant. I mean, he's obviously a very good player. I think he's going to be homegrown because he was obviously. Oh no, it's Nabry. So forget that. Sorry, that's my mistake. But yeah, he came through. He's obviously Premier League experience. He's going to be a free transfer. He's a very, very good player. Can play on either wing. From that point of view, ticks a lot of boxes. Right. I think the concern for me is, at what is he 28 now?
Yeah.
You know, probably 1 or 2 more years at the top level, and he's already injury prone. So I think that worries me. But I think this is a non-rumor. I think this is Joshua Kimmich all over again. I think this is Sane trying to use it for leverage for negotiations with Bayern, to be honest. And I don't mean him personally, but his agents or what have you. I think that's all it is. I'm not complaining if he comes in on a free transfer. It's a very good signing, but I've got to be consistent. I didn't want Neto because of the injury history, and I think you've got to sort of say the same here.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Completely hear that, man. I mean, it even says here that he's happy at Bayern anyway. He wants to stay at Bayern. So I think you are right there with his agent using it just to maybe get his contract, because they're saying that the decision will be made in 1 to 3 weeks apparently. So yeah.
Odd time frame, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe 1, maybe 3.
Yeah. But yeah, I wanted to get your thoughts on, because we were speaking about earlier on the whole Gyokeres news that came out yesterday as well, man. What do you make of that, Dom? Like, you know, that we's now Berta's came in and he's already targeting Gyokeres. Like, I think we knew Berta, because apparently I think he wanted him at Atleti as well. I've been hearing, but
yeah.
Obviously, like, he's been under the radar, Gyokeres, in terms of like the rumors in the recent sort of times. There's been more Isak and Sesko that has been mentioned. But for you on Gyokeres, Dom, what do you think about him, man?
I think it's my first choice, assuming that Isak is unattainable, right? I was a big fan of his at Coventry. I got why teams didn't sort of pull the trigger on him last summer. He'd only had one big season, as it were, and we've seen that happen before with players, and people have taken a gamble on them, particularly coming out the Portuguese league. Looking at you, Darwin. And it's not worked. So I can sort of see why people just wanted to sort of have another look, make sure, and see if he can do it again. And obviously he has. I don't think it's any surprises on Arsenal's radar. We're clearly going to buy a striker this summer. I think that's going to happen. I think the money's there. Berta coming in, I think, makes the money even more likely. And as you say, he was interested in him at Atleti, so no surprises there. I think we're going to hear a lot of this. Berta likes. You know, and I think that's true. But I think it's also true that we're not going to see a whole new summer transfer policy, sort of the old one ripped up and thrown away and a new one come in just because Berta's there. We will be using the analytics that Jason Ito and his team have put together. We'll be using the profiles. What might happen is the order of targets will change, and maybe one or two that Berta's done a lot of work on might come in because, of course, he's got such a good contact list. But I think he was on Arsenal's list anyway, and I'm not surprised to see him on Berta's list. You know, I prefer him to Sesko. You know, I'm not as low on Sesko as everyone else is. You know, I think you can look at his stats and compare them and go, well, he doesn't score as many goals, but I think that also reflects the team he's playing in and the league he's playing in. But Gyokeres is obviously a better striker right now than Sesko, but I also think that's an age thing as well, right? He's sort of in his prime, and Sesko is still developing. But yeah, I'd be very happy with the signing of Gyokeres. Very happy.
Yeah, for sure.
And we're going to see lots of these links in the coming days, I think. You know.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, most definitely. Luca, this guy must have gotten something against you, man.
Mate, Moss.
Oh, here we go.
Right,
Get the
Moss,
popcorn out.
listen to this, right? You may not want to listen to me. That's cool, Moss, right? But at the end of the day, right, you getting all excited with these Santiago Jimenez signings and Jonathan David and all that stuff. These are good players, but they're not Gyokeres Isak quality, mate, where we want to take this club by winning things, yeah? So I understand you like all these scouts. Moss, you said Zersky was good, man. Zersky absolute wank, right? He is wank. So I'm sorry, Moss. You keep your opinion to yourself, bro. And I totally respect your opinion, right? But at the end of the day, right, all these targets have not worked out for Arsenal. So at the end of the day, we're Arsenal Football Club. We demand better, and let's get these sort of signings like Gyokeres and that, yeah?
Oh, mate. There we go. So yeah, Sane, Luca, you don't want him, you said.
Not for me. We can do better.
And you want Nico Williams is your winner, yeah?
Nico Williams, Semenyo, Adamoah Lookman, these sort of signs we need to bring.
I'm not too sure about Semenyo,
Really?
to be honest. I thought, yeah, all right. Bomber, Jesus.
Luca, I think just give him a quick tug, mate. Just pull him back down, and he...
But yeah, with Semenyo, I think he started well, right, this season. But I think since January onwards, I've not really been too impressed with him. I can't lie. I mean, against Man City, he was pretty damn awful. I can't lie. But I did rate him back in January, but since I tweeted out that, you know, it's baffling that Arsenal fans are saying no to him, he's been rather underwhelming. I can't lie. So
who is the number one target winger would you take then?
Lookman, fair enough.
Yeah, Lookman. Yeah.
Right, but my dream's obviously Rafinha, but
that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
Rafinha's not going to happen. But
yeah, let's just jump off the bandwagon for a second. Obviously, Rafinha was my dream target for like 2 or 3 years.
Not hit the ground running. You don't think he won't be a flop?
I'll take him all day long. To be
I'm not saying he won't, but I think obviously Atletico Madrid, Atletico Bilbao. It's an easy mistake to make.
Yeah.
Lads, let me off. But yeah, Bilbao are like 4th in the league, and
they're the best of the rest, right?
I'd say so far this season.
They're the best of the rest, basically, in Spain.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I reckon his older brother has actually had a better season than him.
I
to be
wonder
honest.
if Williams might be
think,
suffering from post sort of Euro sort of stuff. You know, a lot of players are.
yeah, I think it is tournament hype again that has brainwashed most.
Yeah, but wasn't he good in
Arsenal
his
fans.
first couple? It wasn't he scoring for fun in his first couple
He's
of
been
seasons?
very good at Bilbao.
Yeah, he was bagging assists, but he wasn't necessarily bagging many
I
goals.
don't mind that though.
Yeah, but this is what I said on your show yesterday, Josh. I think if we were going to bring in a Gyokeres up front, and then you have Nico Williams on the left with Saka on the right, Erdegaard as that like trifecta, I think I wouldn't mind it because he would thrive off players who were already quality. Because obviously Mane wasn't world class when he was at Southampton. He went to Liverpool and
I thought he was very good at
he was
Southampton. To be fair,
Yeah, he was.
I thought he was
Say
very
again?
good at Southampton. To be fair,
Yeah, but I don't think he was
no, but
world class.
I'm not sure you can be world class, and I don't mean this with any disrespect to Southampton. At Southampton, I don't think you kind of need some players around you to sort of
And this is
show
what
what
I'm
you can
saying.
do.
I think Nico Williams is a good player, but I just think he is massively like underdeveloped at the moment.
He's got a lot of growing to do. I mean, he's very raw, right? I think.
Yeah, I think he's very raw, but he could get better. He could thrive off the quality around him if you bring in a Gyokeres, and obviously you've got Saka there as well. Erdegaard, you've got Declan Rice, who I'm presuming is going to play as that number 8, linking up with him. So,
Can I just ask a question?
I think...
Go on. I've got a couple of questions for you in a second.
Yeah.
But just on them, I mean, you know, obviously Nico Williams is. I think we can all agree is raw. I think if he comes in, you don't want Sesko as your striker because that's 2 raw players. But if Sesko comes in, I think it's probably not Williams. But if Gyokeres comes in, I'm much happier with Williams. But on Semedo, sorry, do we think some of his drop off since January is because Bournemouth has started to drop off? And just on Sane, because I'm kind of with you, it's not for me. But let's say we bring in 2 forwards this year, 2 wingers, and one of them is Sane on a free, and then we bring in, you know, another one. Let's say it's Nico Williams for argument's sake.
Yeah.
Are you happy with Sane as sort of that Raheem Sterling replacement, which is he's a squad winger that sort of comes in for minutes every now and again, or you still a no? I mean, that's an expensive squad winger, obviously, in terms of wages.
Yeah, I mean, there's another one in Kudus as well, because apparently West Ham are reportedly wanting to sell him.
Oh, please, mate. What a baller.
Because of his attitude. And that's my concern of his, you know, attitude, and he can get a bit petulant mid-game. If you see where I'm coming from.
I do hear that, to be fair.
He's a quality player, but at the same time, is he worth 80 million? Like, we could have got him for 30.
I know. I wish we did, man. That was a perfect opportunity right there. But I don't. Yeah. I think we couldn't get him. I saw it. Someone came out of it. We couldn't get him because we already were done with FFP or something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So by the time he was available at that price, we'd already spent our money, basically.
Yeah.
And in some ways, you can understand it, right? You don't want to spend your money. You don't want to wait and hope he comes. But you look back and go, if only, right? You know, Kudos is obviously one, but I don't know what you guys thought though. Just
say that again
very quickly on that Sane. If he comes in as that player, does that sort of change your dial on that for anyone? I know, Luca, you sort of had a similar opinion of me on him.
What's the question?
Yeah, we kind of missed that.
You lagged out a little bit.
I missed that. You lagged a little bit.
You lagged out a little bit.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry, boys. I was just saying, like, Kudos. I absolutely hear you. You know, on that one. But I was just very quickly, just on Sane, because I was just interested. You'd be all right with him as a Raheem Sterling would change anything?
I think for me, look, if we end up getting a Nico Williams as well, you've got to bring another winger in. You can't just have Leroy Sane ahead of all the wingers we have been linked with. That will look horrible.
No. But he's saying if we get, he asked if we get someone like Nico Williams, wherever you want, and if you want to, and we get a winner and Sane on top of that, you'd be happy with that.
And Sane. If you get Nico Williams and Sane, it's a no-brainer. As long as you go and get Gyokeres, you've got so many options. Then what's going to happen to Jesus? Because he's not going to get sold.
Well, yeah, he's obviously going to. Well, he's going to be here for the for the time being because of the
And
ACL
Havertz,
injury
until
until January at least next year.
What's the future for?
Havertz will be the backup striker, I think. Personally, I wouldn't mind selling him, but yeah, he's going to be staying because he is, you know, a Mikel Arteta player, isn't he? But
He offers a lot of flexibility.
in regards to Kudus, yeah, I guess he has a bit of height in there, which we have been missing for a couple of years now. But yeah, in regards to Kudus, right, I don't know whether he is worth 80 million. Like, he's a really good player, and I have rated him for ages. But at the same time, like, if we want to get Cunha in the summer to play as the 10, and then you've got Nico Williams to play on the left if you bring him in, well, what's going to happen with Winery then? Because we've got him, who can comfortably play on the right, and he's pretty much saved us millions from signing the likes of Neto and Kudus, for instance, for 70 odd million. So if we were going to get a 10, like, this is what I would do. I'd sign a 10 in either Cunha or Eze, and then sign obviously Williams Williams and a Gyokeres up front, obviously Isak if it's possible. Don't get me wrong, I'd also sign Lookman if the opportunity came. But I'd also, you know, keep Winery as the backup right winger to Saka because, you know, as I said, he's saved millions on that position. And then you have obviously Cunha or Eze and then Ødegaard in the positions. And obviously Winery can fill in that number 10
we're going to need
position.
2 positions, because that means, as I said earlier, we're going to need Zubimendi coming in as the Thomas Partey replacement. And I still think we need an attacking number 10, because I think in the future, probably not next season coming, we're going to need an Ødegaard replacement. Only if it depends if we can get the old Ødegaard, what we know. Because we're not getting no Wirtz, Barella, and all these Musials. They're all going to Real Madrid and that. And
I think Barella's more of a centre midfielder anyway.
yeah, so this is why I feel like go and get a Zubimendi. Would any of you, I have a question, right? Would you take Zubimendi and Eze, just if it was just them two?
Yeah,
100%.
in a heartbeat.
That was kind of my midfield duo that I would have signed. I think that's what I mentioned last week. 100%, that's what I do.
Yeah, 100%, Luca.
Yeah, I would like to see Morgan Rogers as well come through as well.
Morgan Rogers is another one. He's worth about 80 million. Morgan Rogers.
He's not going to be worth 80 million.
That's his valuation, but I'm not paying that. No way. Eze, I think, is very gettable out of Palace this summer, though.
Yeah. 100%. But guys, let's move to the Fulham game. We're back tomorrow. Premier League action. Under the lights, obviously, Arsenal versus Arsenal B team, if you want to call it.
That's literally what I said in my preview that I recorded earlier. very, very nearly entitled it that.
I mean, no, look, with all due respect to Fulham, they're having a great season. I think they've got an exceptional manager. You know, that they're honestly in a very good position. They could, obviously, we know it's very tight in the top 4 race. Even 5th place of Champions League, isn't it? So they could even push for that. But yeah, they're playing some good football, man. But listen, we're back. Obviously, I know we're looking more ahead to the Real Madrid game and that Champions League tie, because that's the one we will focus on for the rest of the season. But I come to you first, Luca, for this one. So obviously Fulham tomorrow.
Yeah.
How are you feeling for the game, mate? First and foremost.
Look, for me, of course, it has been a little while. It's been like a couple of weeks since Arsenal not played. It feels a very long time. But look, Fulham is a bit of a bogey side to us, because we haven't beaten them for a couple of seasons now. And Fulham have got something prize to go for. And of course, they could be going for the Conference League. I don't know how many points there are from Europe, but I can't remember without looking at the table. But Fulham, for me, is not going to be an easy game. Like Marco Silva said in his press conference, they were asking, is Smith Rowe inconsistent? I don't think so. right?
Say that again,
I think he's low key been.
mate. He's been trash for Fulham.
Yeah,
apparently,
Yeah,
mate.
but the trouble is, I think he can try and find his form because ever since he had that injury at Arsenal, he's not been the same player. And look, it is the Arsenal derby of rejects because we've got Smith Rowe, we've got Leno, we've got Iwobi, 37-year-old Willian, of course. This is going to be a tough game. This is going to be. And Josh, I watched your podcast earlier with that Fulham fan, right, Elizabeth, and she doesn't feel confident of beating Arsenal. And Fulham might have a hangover syndrome from the FA Cup again.
Hold on, Luca.
Yeah, she said she's not scared of
She
us.
said she's not scared of us.
It's literally in the title.
No, she's not scared. But at the end of the day, right, I think we can beat Fulham. Don't be surprised if we do drop points because we've got that big game next Tuesday, right, against Real Madrid. And I'm confident winning the game. I think we'll make changes. I think we will go strong. I think we shouldn't have any excuse to go strong because the Madrid game's not till a week tomorrow.
Yeah.
Bukayo Saka.
Is it a week tomorrow?
It's a week tomorrow already, mate. It's coming.
Jeez, it's coming up, innit? It's coming up.
Well, we haven't
What,
played.
the Everton games
We
this
haven't played
weekend?
since 2022, have we? I mean, it's been that long. Isn't it?
Yeah, it has, ain't it, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. It's the biggest game of Real Madrid. This manager next week. So, I think for me, look, Fulham is going to be a hard game. They've got something to fight for. We're priors on the biggest game against the best team in the world, Real Madrid. And look, I just kind of feel like this is going to be a difficult game. We're at home. We're very good at home. We've only lost one home game, I think, in the Premier League, which was West Ham. So I'm confident. I think but we need to score goals. We need. Look, the Premier League was over ages ago. We were never in a title race, right? And we've never been in a title race this season. And we were just always there in around the mix. And I kind of feel like let's just build a bit of momentum. People putting in the comments, Bukayo Saka's back. My opinion on Bukayo Saka, I think he's ready to go.
You're starting.
Would I start him against Fulham tomorrow? No, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. But even if it all but means if he does start, maybe give him 45 minutes to 60 minutes. I don't think if he does start, I don't think Mikel Arteta will give him 45. I think he'll give him maybe the 60. But if he does come on, if we're winning the game, and I want to see a performance. I want to see a better performance than Chelsea, because that Chelsea game, the first 35 minutes, we were all over them. Then the second half, it was just
it's poor. Yeah, second half, it's flat. Yeah,
you know what I mean, it was just like Arsenal waking up in the coma. You know what I'm saying, falling asleep. And look, I kind of feel like, look, I'm confident we can win the game. I'd make a strong team. My lineup, what I'd go for, I'd go with Raya in goal. Go with Dewey and Timber. Centre backs, Gabriel and Saliba. Calafiori's now out injured for a couple of weeks. So left back would probably go with, I'd actually start Kieran Tierney in this game.
Yeah.
So Lewis Skelly.
Yeah, I'd rest Lewis Skelly, man. Get him ready for that.
Same for Madrid.
Yeah, same for Madrid.
Fair enough.
Well, we do have Everton before that, to be fair.
And Everton away is a tough
Yeah,
place.
so we could rest him for that one.
Midfield, Partey, Rice, Odegaard. Up front, I'd go with Ethan Wanyerny, Martinelli, and Trossard, and have Saka on the bench.
Yeah, fair enough, man. Fair enough. I'll come to you next, Roy, bro. Tomorrow's game, how you feeling for it? And also, what would be your team as well?
Yeah, it's a difficult one because from what I've seen with Fulham, and as obviously the Fulham fan said yesterday, obviously they don't really play as a low block, but I think if Marco Silva actually does his homework on how to obviously get something at Arsenal, then it's very likely that he will obviously play 3 at the back, or 5 at the back, should I say.
Yeah.
They've had a decent record actually against the Big Six. If they don't win, they either draw or they lose, but they obviously don't go out with a fight. So It's going to be a difficult game, especially when there's players in that team who want to prove a point, likes of Leno, Iwobi, Willian, Smith Rowe in particular. Don't know whether he's going to start though. I don't think he's been starting lately for Fulham, but I think this is the only game where we see Smith Rowe potentially wanting to prove his worth, because again, I see plenty of fans going on about the fact Smith Rowe this whole season has been superb and he's done so well for Fulham. I've said this whole time, I thought he started off really well, but he's low-key been very disappointing, just considering like they signed him for 35 million and he's their record transfer fee. And yeah, he's not really lived up to the expectations, has he? But yeah, obviously this game was obviously the one that I was fearing the most because of Smith Rowe and like the only game he could actually turn up in.
Yeah.
I think in terms of the lineup, I'm going to go Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel. I'll start Lewis Skelly because I think Everton is where you can rest him for Real Madrid. Midfield, Partey, Rice, Erdegaard, and then I go Waneri, Trossard, and Martinelli. I wouldn't start Saka for this one. I mean, I don't know what it is, but I can't be the only one that doesn't really like the sound of Waneri playing as a false nine.
Nah.
Yeah, I don't really like it. I see a lot of fans, you know, for Real Madrid, not just for this game, but for Real Madrid, making their assumptions about Waneri playing as a false nine. I don't really like the sound of that.
No,
I mean, I understand, like, I get where they're coming from, why they want to see him as a false nine, almost like, remember Alexis Sanchez in 2017,
Yes.
where he played up front.
Oh yeah. What, against West Ham when he scored a hat trick?
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure he played as a striker for the first part of the season, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
So, yeah, it could be another. It could be another case for that, but I don't know. I just look at his playing style, and he's more of either a midfielder or a
a winner. Yeah.
In my opinion, I don't see him as a striker, because as a striker with Mikel Arteta, you want link-up play, you want build-up play to drop into obviously midfield, which obviously Waneri can do so because he is a midfielder predominantly. But yeah, I just don't really want to see him as the false nine. I'd rather see Martinelli, who have been itching to start, by the way, as a false nine. But we've just not seen it since, I think Unai Emery was manager, for God's sake.
Yeah.
And we saw Martinelli through the middle. So
Yeah.
that's what I would go with. And that's what I would actually go with for the remainder of the season. Well, in the Premier League, at least. If it's the Champions League, I'd probably go Saka, Saka, Trossard, Martinelli. That's what I would go with.
Yeah, fair enough. Dom, how are you feeling for tomorrow's game, man? And also, what will be your team?
Desperately trying to remember what I said at 6:30 this evening when I recorded something. So let's see how consistent this is. So I think let's start with Saka, right? I mean, that's the big news with him coming back. I'm with you, Luca. I don't think you start him. I think you take the Martinelli approach. The guy has been out for what, 3 months now, if not nearer 4. It's a big injury. And the league's gone, so why risk him? What you want to do is build up his fitness for Real Madrid. So I bring him off the bench, but I think him being back is going to be huge for the squad and huge for the fans. Just the sight of him warming up will really rev up the Emirates. And look, he's going to be in the squad tomorrow. I think the real big questions for Arsenal are what do you do on the left, what you do at the fullback positions, and what you do up front. I think the up front one is going to be really, really simple. It's going to be Mikel Merino. But like you, Rory, I would like to see Martinelli there at times. I think against low blocks, I worry about Martinelli there. I think that's probably more Mourinho against a low block because Martinelli's game is sort of pace rather than sort of clever movement. But like you, I don't want to see Wanyeri playing as a false nine. So I think Mourinho will certainly be the striker. And he's done a decent job, but like you, I'd like to see Martinelli. But that will be that decision. I think Martinelli comes in on the left for Trossard. I prefer Trossard coming off the bench for one. And secondly, let's be honest, his form's been patchy. And that's if I'm being kind in recent weeks. He wasn't exactly great for Belgium either on the international break. So I think that's the sort of two of the decisions. And the other two, I think, are the fullbacks. And I would actually start Miles Lewis-Skelly for this game. But I think Luca, it might have been Rory, but whichever one of you it was, I think you're absolutely right. What you want to do is make sure you're managing his minutes ahead of Real Madrid because that's where we need him for.
Yeah.
So I think what you see, and I think this applies on the right as well, where I think Ewan Timber is the one starting against Real Madrid because he's the one with more match fitness than Ben White, who's also recovering from injury. You almost rotate these guys around. So 60, 70 minutes for in this game for those two. And then you bring them off, Tierney or Zinchenko on the left, preferably Tierney, but, either or, depends on game state a little bit. And Ben White on the other side. And then maybe you start Ben White against Everton to rest Timber, something like that. But I think they're the decisions that Mikel Arteta has to take. Fulham are going to be very dominant down the left side. That's where they will get most of their Iwobi obviously driving from midfield, Robinson.
They've got that left back, don't they?
Yeah.
Robinson,
He's really a threat on both, both thirds of the pitch. So lots of, that's where their threat's going to come from. They're weak down the right side, comparatively. And I think that's where it calls for Miles Lewis-Skelly, really, because he can move into that midfield role a little bit more. So I think they're the decisions for Mikel Arteta. I think the side, therefore, will be Raya, Timber, Gabriel, Saliba, obviously Saliba the right side, and Miles Lewis-Skelly, Partey, Rice, Odegaard. Wanyeri starts on the right, but comes off for Saka at some point. Martinelli on the left, and then I think it will be Mourinho up front. I think that will be the team tomorrow. Not necessarily what I pick, but that's what I think we'll see. And I agree with AFC always here is that grade 3 hamstring is serious. I don't know what Saka had, but I think, he's a good point there on Sane. He's really struggled.
Yeah. But
I can't remember. Does anyone remember what Saka's grade injury was?
I can't. Nah. I know it's a torn hamstring, but that was. I don't know about the grade.
2 or 3, I think. But I was just going to bring up Saka, Would you guys have brought him back at this moment in the season, or would you have saved him until next season? Because personally,
it's a good question.
Right, I would have brought him back around about this time, and I'll tell you why we should have brought him back sooner rather than later, right? Because let's say we leave him until, let's say, July. He doesn't play a single minute, right? And he comes back. We're then giving 17-year-old Ethan Nwaneri more minutes than he probably should have minutes because he's 17 and he shouldn't be playing roughly the same minutes as Saka has been playing. And if he was going to get injured, then us as a fan base would be throwing our toys out of the pram only because, we've not rushed Saka back. Right, at the end of the day, if he's back from injury, right, the only problem I will have, though, is if he was going to start Premier League games from now until the end of the season.
Yeah.
That's the only problem I would have. But if we were going to, let's say if he was going to have some substitute appearances off the bench and then start in a Champions League, I honestly don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, but, so if we say against Fulham, we give him 20 minutes and then Everton, we give him...
Yeah. And then you start against Real Madrid.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have a problem with that because you do need your best players. The only way we are going to win this Champions League is if Saka is fit. Because I'd say a 50% Saka is better than the rest of our attackers. Let's just be straight up.
We're going to need to game manage Bukayo Saka because
100%.
Saka right now he's good, but at the time, look, I said this before. Look, I would have saved him until next season. And what Mikel Arteta has come out and said now, it's probably made my opinion change now, because if Saka will be 100% starting against Real Madrid. He's never played against Real Madrid before. These Real Madrid players have never come up against us before. Well, Rudiger has back in his Chelsea days and Courtois, but
we're a very different side now to then as well.
Well, yeah, we are. Back then we had a dead squad, but I think Bukayo Saka tomorrow, bring him off the bench. Some people might regret and say, "Oh, he's not starting this and that." If we're 1-0 down, maybe bring him on for the 60, get him a couple of goals. Because what we've really missed with Saka this season is his assists, his corners, and what we've been doing. Think about how Saka's got us, and he's going to be very important in that game against Real Madrid next week.
Yeah.
Because that Real Madrid game, we need to see the Saka what we know. We need to see him come up against the likes of Rudiger, all these lot next week, right? Because we have to be 110% on our game to have the best game over the two legs. That first leg, look, I'm not confident going into that game, but however, Bukayo Saka has to be up for his best. We've got Everton the weekend. We've got Fulham the weekend. I'd start Saka against Everton, but I would not play him for 90 minutes. Get him a bit of a runabout to give him confidence so he's ready for Tuesday's game against Real Madrid.
Yeah, I think that's something that Arteta will do, to be honest. I think he'll be on the bench tomorrow night, and then he'll start him against Everton for 60-odd minutes. But like this is the point, right? Let's say we were going to save Saka until next season, which, I mean, I'm no, like, genius at maths, right? I got a 2 last year, for crying out loud. But I'm pretty sure he would be missing a solid, 108 days of football, right? Since December, right? He would have been missing like 108 days, and he wouldn't be back until pre-season. So you're willing to play Waneri from now until the end of the season, and if he breaks down, then yeah, we're back in the same situation. Oh, Mikel, what are you doing? What are you playing at?
Yeah, but what if Saka breaks down again then?
Huh?
Then it comes down to the manager, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, it comes down to the manager if he mismanages Saka when he comes back from injury.
It wouldn't surprise me.
I think the key here, right?
But with Waneri, right, if he was going to save him until next season, you can't just, right, if let's say Waneri gets, I don't know, he gasses out towards the end of the season because he's played so many minutes than he should have been, then whose fault is that then? Because you lot wanted this manager to save Saka.
I think the thing here, and I think this applies to all players, but particularly right now to Ethan Waneri and obviously Martinelli and Saka. Waneri, because of his age and sort of the way he's still developing, because I think unlike Miles Lewis-Skelly, he's developing physically, hasn't developed quite as much as Miles Lewis-Skelly, and therefore the rigors of the game will be harder for him. But Saka and Martinelli obviously coming back from injury. I think the thing here is that Mikel Arteta needs to listen to what the medical advice is saying to him. And if the medical advice is saying to him, you can play Saka for 30 minutes, you don't do more than that. I mean, I've made that number up, right? But, you know, Martinelli, yeah, over these 2 games, he's good. He's good for 140 minutes, you know. I think that's where he's got to be doing. And I think if he's following that, you kind of got to say, okay, you're following the medical advice here. There's always a risk. I think the thing with Waneri is I think we can be far more careful with his development into the team than we could with Bukayo Saka, because I think the team is a lot better now and therefore doesn't need Waneri in the same way we needed Saka when Saka was breaking through. Saka is clearly an all-world talent, right? He is, you know, our best attacker, bar none, right? It's a bit like Mo Salah at Liverpool. He's our version of that, obviously a bit younger. So therefore, when these players are fit, they're going to play. That's just how it works. But we, with Ethan Waneri, don't need to take the same risks. Obviously, we had in recent weeks where we've had limited options, but we don't need to take the risk with him. And therefore, I think we should be seeing sort of more of a Phil Foden at Manchester City. It's a comparison I always make. the way he's come into the team there, and that's how even Wanyeri should be managed in, particularly as he's not sort of a physical specimen like Bukayo Saka is, or even Miles Lewis-Skelly. He's a little bit more slight of frame at the moment and still developing physically. So I think that's going to be crucial there.
Yeah. AFC always got a question to the panel. Saka's a great player, but what Arteta spent 800 million, you telling me that we should rely on Saka? He says, I'm sorry, I find that embarrassing.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
I agree to an extent.
I think
So
that
I think here's where it's easier if I go over the bit I don't agree, and then I'll go over the bit I agree, because it makes more logical sense. I think every single team in the world are reliant on 2 or 3 star players if they're going to win the big trophies. And Saka's unbelievable is undoubtedly one of ours. I think where I would agree with AFC always here is that, Arsenal's attack shouldn't. It will take a big hit when Saka's out, just like Liverpool's would with Salah, or Man City's arguably would without, say, Haaland or Kevin De Bruyne at his peak, right? But the one thing we've all been critical of, or all season, and I'm one of the biggest defenders of Arsenal where we are right now, is the fact that we took a risk in the summer being one light. I got the striker, but we were forward light, and we didn't do anything to support in January when we could have. And I think that's where I would agree with AFC always, that look, we've built a really good defence, we've built a really good midfield, but we have neglected the forwards to quite a large extent. And that's what makes us reliant on Saka. And that's where I think you have to sort of go that. I wouldn't use the word embarrassing, but that's where Arsenal have to look at it. I think the 800 million is a slight misnomer, because basically we were down here, you buy some players because that's what you have. They're then not good enough for the next bit, and therefore you sort of move them on and you have to replace them. And that's where you sort of end up by spending 800 million, because you buy players that get you to the next level but are never going to get you to the Premier League, or get you through. Zinchenko is an obvious example of that. I think he was quite fundamental in us, getting into the top 4 and then a title push. But he's not a player that, I know he won titles at City, but he's not a player that's going to get you over the line. So therefore, he needs replacing. But he sort of helped you get to that stage. But I do somewhat agree with the point AFC always made there.
Yeah, fair enough. I had another one which I wanted to pin up.
Luca, what do you think? Well, Josh finds it.
Yeah, go on, Luca, quickly.
The question here is saying, the panel said to me that Saka.
No, wrong one. This one earlier.
Yeah, that one.
No, Saka's.
Sorry, that was my fault.
Spent 800 million. We should be relying. That we should. Yeah, look, for me, good question. AFC always. Big up to you. I saw you in my chat on my channel. Look, I don't think we shouldn't rely on Bukayo Saka that much, because I know he's our very important man. And when we do play Real Madrid a week on Tuesday, he has to be on that key point. He's got to be the Saka, what we want to see. We've got to see from going from a broken hamstring going into like a 10 out of 10 performance. We have to put the best performance. And we've spent a lot of money. Like, it's embarrassing that we spent all this sort of money and still not won the league. But this summer is an opportunity to get it right, so we can push on because next year is World Cup season, right? It's World Cup year. And majority, it's going to be very interesting what we're going to do. And I think the World Cup's not till the summer of 2026. So this is why, look, I get the frustration, AFC always, about Mikel Arteta, that we've spent 800 million, 700 million, whatever the circumstance is. And we've bought 31 players, and majority, most of them have been good, some of them haven't. But this summer has to be the summer where we do go and get that striker. We go and get that Bukayo Saka great backup that's going to give him a good chance, like the Nico Williams and all these we've mentioned, and that, and Lookmans. That is what I think we need to do, AFC always.
Is Wanyeri not Saka's backup now?
For this season, yeah, but for
next season?
No, I don't think so. I think if we don't get a 10, if we don't get an Eze or a Cunha, I think we should use Wanyeri in that position or have him as an Odegaard backup, because I don't want if we're going to go for a proper winger like a Williams in the summer, I don't want Wanyeri to be a backup to Bukayo Saka. I would rather have Wanyeri move into the number 10 role, if all but means if we're not going to get a number 10 like an Eze or Cunha.
Could he not do both? As in, your Odegaard and Saka are going to play a lot of minutes, right? Could he not sort of cover for both?
I think he can. That's why I think next season we need to have a huge squad depth, because you look at Liverpool, right? Liverpool this season are a prime example. They're going to win the league. by 10 to 12 points. And they've got a big squad, right? So many attackers like Harvey Elliott, the Diaz's, the Nunez's, the Jotas, the Gaffos, right? When you say that we are selling players and we're replacing players very well, I think next season where Ethan Wanyeni's he can play in 2 good positions. Like, I think he's better in a number 10. I really do. Don't get me on the wing. He's been good. And he's done a fantastic job while Bukayo Saka's been out injured. And now he's back. And I think for the rest of the season, well, tomorrow and depending if Saka does start on the weekend, Wanyeni should start tomorrow. Ethan Wanyeni should start tomorrow. But if Bukayo Saka does come back into that Real Madrid game, and if he does play for the rest of the season, for the last few games, maybe push Wanyeni as an option in number 10 role.
Puts the pressure on Odegaard, right? Who's had a poor season.
Odegaard's had a stinker there. Oh, look, I still rate Odegaard.
I do too.
I think he will come good again. But next season, I think the season's where we must see if Odegaard can get back to what he was last season.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because if he doesn't, then I think we should get rid of him.
I agree fully with that. And I also think Wanyeri's best position is 10, but I think he can probably cover both. I think what we will see is at least one winger, if not 2, come in this season. I think it will be 2 if Trossard goes. Otherwise, I think it will be 1.
I think I don't know where Trossard will go, but Trossard will go.
Trossard's on my sell list, to be honest.
I'd get rid of Trossard. I've gone off with Trossard now.
I think since he didn't get the big contract and didn't get the Dubai move, I think he's a sulker, and I think he spent most of the season sulking. If I'm honest.
Yeah, after that Villa game,
after that Villa game, he's been atrocious. You know what I'm saying? I think we need to get rid of him. Martinelli, I'll give him 1 more year, right, to see if he can get the 2022 season back again. See, next season has to be the season where I just feel like, because I don't see Arsenal selling both. Because if Arsenal do sell both, we have to bring 2 wingers in.
Yeah, I don't think we sell both. I think it's one or the other. But the only way I see us selling both would be, let's say Trossard is the one we want to sell and we get 25, 30 million, whatever it is, from Saudi. I think that's the one you do. And then you don't look to sell Martinelli. But if you suddenly got a £90 million bid, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I think that's when you've got to go, do you know what? I'm taking that, right? I'm not saying that's going to happen, by the way. I'm just saying something crazy like that. Then you go.
Say if it did happen, would you use that on Isak, which means that we don't get Gyokeres? Because that means you could put that money, then that means we probably have to, we have a forgotten man. We have Gabriel Jesus to come back.
I'll do anything to get Isak, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think that's right. And I think because Jesus will be back in December and we can't move him on, right? Because no one's going to buy him. I think Arsenal won't sign 2 wingers unless one leaves. I think it'll be 1 winger because you get by until December. And I think there's more than enough in the squad there. And I think, Liverpool obviously they take their risk in defensive depth, right? Their attacking depth is really, really good. Ours is the other way around. And there's different ways to build a side. But we've all said all season that Arsenal were 1 attacker light. And you can argue that if you bring in just 1 winger in the summer and a striker, there's your 1 extra player in, and then you've got Jesus to come back on top of that. That should be enough, unless you get a really unfortunate incident like we had this season where we've had 4 or 5 out at the same time. But yeah, I think you do. If you get a stupid money for Martinelli, I think you do it. Yeah. But I think it needs to be stupid money because Trossard's the one to move on. He's not going to sign.
Yeah,
he's a sulker. I think he's been a good signing. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, he's been good.
But it's time to go. It's a bit like I was talking earlier about the 800 million is a slight misnomer because you're sort of building through, right? Trossard is another one where he sort of falls into that window of, he's done his job, but it's now time to go, right?
Yeah, it is for him. Yeah,
move beyond him.
In terms of the comment that AFC always put in earlier about Saka not being world class, I swear we've been over this like 3 or 4 times already, maybe more. But yes, you're probably right. Yamal is better than Saka right now.
Yeah.
But just because he's not the best winger in the world right now, like in his position, it doesn't make him not world class.
I think Saka's world class. But
right, because if that's the case, Haaland's not world class because is he the best striker in Europe right now?
No, he's not. He's been.
No. I can think of 3 that are better than him.
There's Marino. By the way, just on a serious note, AFC always, I'm very sorry to hear about your, just looking at the chat, very sorry to hear about
Yeah,
AFC always.
Sorry to hear about that, bro.
Yeah, really sorry. Really sorry to hear about that, man. But no, yeah, you're right, man. Saka is world class, like
Yeah.
all day long.
Was that what the second question was,
Apart from
Josh?
Yamal, like,
Yeah,
let me ask
yeah.
you a question in the chat, like, apart from Yamal, who else is better than him?
Salah.
Because if no one else is better than, obviously everyone's got a different interpretation of world class, and I'm not denying
Yeah.
that. But
It's got to be
like, who else is better than Saka
It's got to be the top
in
three.
his position?
Got
Apart, obviously Salah's up there, but who else?
It's a top three. I'm with Luca. It's a top three, roughly, in the
Yamal,
world.
Salah,
I think there's the opposition where you could go to 4 or 5 because there are just that many good players. But generally speaking, top 3 in the world for me. I'm with you, Luca.
Top
I see
Yeah.
Yamal first, Salah second, Saka third.
Wait,
Yeah.
Yamal first, Salah second.
Salah's the best.
Yeah, it's got to be
in the
Salah
world right now.
first.
Salah first, Yamal
Salah
second,
first,
Saka first.
Yeah, Saka third. Yeah.
Salah then.
All day long. Let's get in some predictions, man. I'll go 1-0 to Arsenal tomorrow. What about you guys?
You know what? I've actually gone the same.
1-0, yeah. One of those games.
I
Come
swear
on,
you
Luca.
predicted 2-1 Arsenal, did you not?
Yesterday, but then I changed to 1-0. I'm like, nah.
2-1 Arsenal. 2-1 Arsenal.
I think I went 2-0 earlier. 2-1 wouldn't shock me, but I think I went 2-0. I think I went clean sheet.
Yeah, there we go. There we go, people.
We'll find out tomorrow morning what I said.
Yeah. But yeah, guys, appreciate everyone as always. Dom, I know you wanted to give like a tribute, right, to Rocky.
Yeah, well, really
yeah.
quickly on David Rocastle, who's obviously 24 years ago today. He died of cancer, and I think he was some player. When he left Arsenal, I was only 7, 8 years of age. But I remember I was getting into Arsenal at that point, and I remember sort of people talking about him, and you look back and hear people talk about him. His sort of, Arsene Wenger put it really well. He obviously he left before Wenger, and he said he was a player way before his time. And you hear everyone sort of talk about the effect that he had on them as a teammate and on the local community. And I just wanted to sort of reflect on how he sort of embodies this sort of Arsenal history and values so much. And his family obviously won't be listening to this and won't be listening to me talk about it. But I think my heart goes out to them today, and I'm hoping that they are coping as well as possible, because he was some Arsenal player in his time here, and obviously had a great career after he left too. And just very quickly as well, Everton game at the weekend. Anyone going to the game, I think Everton are trying to organise in another minute a stand up and sing for Kevin Campbell. I think Super Kevin Campbell. They want to get the whole stadium rocking because it's the last Arsenal Everton game at Goodison. So anyone going to the game, please make sure you're joining in that chant as well. Because two Arsenal two Arsenal very good players, and 2 guys that have done a lot for the club once they finished playing for us as well. So very much missed, to be fair. And I thanks for letting me mention that.
Nah, amazing there. Just quickly, Dom, do you want to shout anything on your channel that's coming up as well?
Well, that's very kind. I've got a preview show out tomorrow. I did a Rocastle short earlier. But I also talked about multi-club ownership, if that's of interest to anyone. I think that went out this morning as well. But as always, thank you for everyone that supported me in the last 4 months or so.
You are at 83 now, man. You're growing.
Well,
wow.
He's gonna get a big 100 soon.
I think that's 19 in the last 7, 8 days or something.
Brilliant,
that.
mate.
So no, thank you
Brilliant.
to everyone that supported me. That's really, really kind. I didn't realise I've picked up another couple tonight by the looks of things.
There we go.
I mean, just a mini trivia question as well about
go on.
Rocky Rocastle. Yeah, does anyone know? Obviously, AFC always put in the chat like he made his debut for Arsenal against Newcastle Highbury. Does anyone know his last game for Arsenal? Like which game it was against?
Southampton.
Was it Southampton?
Yeah. What was the score?
3-1, wasn't it?
I think it was 5-1.
Was it 5? Was it?
Yeah, I think it was 5.
There you go.
There we go, man.
I got 1 point. As long as I don't have to go through. By the way, on the quiz, Arshavin is not an Asian player. Russia is definitely in Europe.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was saying Russia's in Europe.
Yeah,
but,
Russia was 100% Europe. But,
Europe, yeah.
I enjoyed that quiz. It was well edited as well. So well done, Rory. Top job.
That's Rory done that. Yeah, big up to him there. Amazing
Yeah.
editing for sure. Man said Brzezinski though from Russia though. That was madness.
You know what? I thought it was
God.
the flag at first. You know,
Huh?
I thought it was the flag. He got confused.
Oh, the flag, yeah. True.
But I think it was actually just the overall appearance.
Oh my god.
He got mixed up.
Crazy.
Oh my days.
I won't mention his slight Freudian slip in the group chat, which was.
Oh yeah.
Well done, though, Tom. Seriously, no, good job.
Big up Tom, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rory, do you want to shout anything?
Guess the match reactions will be resuming tomorrow against Fulham, and then obviously the weekend against Everton. So yeah, I mean, you doing a watch long tomorrow, Josh?
Yeah, I will be, bro.
Yeah, I might multi-stream with yours. If that's
Yeah,
all.
do some multi-streaming. Yeah, 100%. Hopefully we can get Tony if he's around. I don't know if he's refereeing though. He's a referee, ain't he? So we need him in the Premier League.
been too
Big up
long.
Tony. But yeah, hopefully he'll come on tomorrow. But what about you, Luca, mate?
Yeah, big week on the channel, people. Tomorrow's Tuesday. Match reaction straight after the game. That time again. Wednesday, I'm off to Notts County. We've got to do that. Probably do a few predictions this weekend, and that's about it, really. That's what's coming up, and then building on to the Real Madrid game. Probably find a Real Madrid fan for Sunday. Much appreciated. There's a couple of Real Madrid fans I know. And but yeah, just subscribe to the channel. We're 27 subscribers away from 8,400. If you haven't subscribed, it's free too, man.
That's Luca. I'm only 8,300 and something behind.
I've been doing this channel for 5 years, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Don's been doing it for what, 3 months?
4, I think.
Yeah.
No,
4 months. He's almost got 100 subscribers already.
And actually, this is the first time I've been on. Very impressive numbers, by the way, Luca. But also, it's the first time I've been on since Josh hit 10,000. Well done, Josh.
Thank you, by the way.
I'm sure Luca will be there soon.
Luke, you'll get there soon. You'll be next, Luca, mate.
Yeah.
100%.
Dom's getting there as well.
Dom will be there. Have we got a final question? I think from Mr. AFC always. He says, now Berta has been announced. Do you think these owners will take him seriously and must have the final say over Arteta?
I mean, that's almost like a rhetorical question, isn't it? It's actually hard to answer.
It's hard to say, isn't it?
Because this is the thing. This is the thing, right? Sorry to interrupt, but this is the thing, right? If Bertha coming in now, which sounds very, very promising, and I don't know how we reacted when Edu came in, because when Edu first came in, of course, we got Declan Rice, this and that. Then he did some bad things, missing out on the Caicedo. We end up getting Jorginho, these lot. But it all depends what he's going to do, yeah? With all these rumours, what we saw on the weekend last night with Gyokeres, all these, it sounds very promising for the season, yeah? But I know we're not going to win anything this season, but it sounds promising and positive going into the summer. But let's see what the Cronkies are going to do. Let's see if they were going to see what this director is going to do. Because if this director wants this and this and that, it comes down to the Cronkies, I believe. And then, of course, it's whether the Cronkies want this and that, because this summer's huge. This summer is huge. It's like it's the last opportunity for Arsenal to do something big for the summer if we want to win the Premier League next year.
So I think the money's going to be there this summer. I said at the start of last summer that I thought it was going to be tight financially. And I think the money's going to be there this summer. And to be fair to the Cronkies, sorry?
How much money do we have? 250 million?
That was my number. That's roughly where I think we've got this summer. Now, I wasn't far out in January when I did a FFP sort of what have we got for January transfer window. I was out by about 4 or 5 million. So I was quite happy with that. And I was so happy when David Ornstein reported that Arsenal had about 50 million and I calculated about 45. So I was way happy. But, because Ornstein's an oracle and I'm just, a man with a spreadsheet. But was going to say, so I think the money's going to be there this summer, and I think the Conkeys have shown in the past that if the money's there, they will back it as long as they're sort of sold on the project. And I think this summer has been a very much an Arteta summer because I think Edu was kind of out the door and someone had to make a decision. But I think from what sort of people are saying that this is going to be the sort of committee approach Arsenal run under Edu and Arteta will very much remain, which is, there'll be debates internally and eventually someone will make a sign off on deals, which is generally sort of, they will make recommendations to the board and the board will sanction the money. And I think that's probably how it's going to work. By all accounts, it's going to be a very equal partnership, sort of similar to Edu and Arteta. And I think that's probably the best way it works because no one ever has all the right answers themselves. So I think that sort of internal challenge is going to be really, really important. So I think that's how it's going to work. But I would expect Arsenal to back Arteta, Berta, and the players this summer financially because I think it's there. That big net loss falls off this summer, and we've got a third year of Champions League football coming in this coming season. So, that all says that Arsenal should have money to spend.
Yeah. Got another question from Bailey. Who's winning the FA Cup? I'm saying that's Villa.
Villa.
I'm saying Man City.
Well, Haaland's out now.
Yeah.
Could be out.
But I think he still could be back for.
I was going to say he might be back for the last few games. So could be back for the final if they make it.
And City still won the game against Bournemouth, didn't they, without Haaland? So
they did, to be fair.
I can see Man City winning it, but if they get knocked out by who do they play again? Is it Forest?
Forest, yeah.
Yeah. I can see Villa winning it.
Villa final for me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What about you, Luca?
I think it would be Aston Villa v Nottingham Forest in the final.
Oh,
really?
Villa Forest.
Yeah,
Okay.
because Man City have not been that good this season. I know yesterday they played all right against Bournemouth, and Bournemouth looked a bit like. I feel Bournemouth this season have done well, but I feel like they're a bit under pressure at the moment.
They've hit their ceiling, haven't they?
Yeah, they have, and I feel like pressure's really got to them about what they're going to decide whether they're going to qualify for the Europa or Conference. I think Conference League for clubs like Bournemouth actually really fits their structure. To be honest, I think Forest. I think that Villa will win the FA Cup, and if Villa do win the FA Cup, you know what's going to happen.
Here we go.
You know what's going to happen.
Go on, say it, Luca. What phase? Go on.
What phrase is in Emery? What phrase?
What phrase?
Emery is the best manager.
Good evening. Good evening.
We will be hearing this.
No one knows what phrase he's in because he hardly speaks English. So
No, exactly.
Yeah, but there we go. But nah, Bailey, allow it, man, allow it. Saying who we got in the semis. Nah, it's still annoys. I think it annoys everyone, man.
Leon, isn't it? We got Leon in the semis.
Yeah, Leon, exactly.
He's talking about the ladies, isn't he?
Well, yeah, what are you talking about, Bailey, man? We got
Yes,
Leon in
Leon.
the semis, Champions League.
Yeah.
We're gonna win. Arsenal ladies will smash Leon.
hold on. Josh, Luca, you've
Big up
said
mob.
Villa just
Yeah.
to make him happy. Only because he asked the question. That's why you said Aston
Oh, Bailey, because it's Villa. Nah, I actually genuinely think that they'll do it, mate.
Nah.
I actually think they do it, to be honest.
Emery is a really good cup manager, by the way.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, yeah.
He's one of the best cup managers in world football.
Yeah. Yeah, facts.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I agree with this, by
it's
the way.
only the Europa League that he has a decent record in when it comes to cup competitions because he didn't really do anything in the Conference League. He didn't do anything in the FA Cup last season for Villa. I don't think he's that great in cup competitions, to be honest, apart from the Europa League. That's just me.
Didn't he win the Spanish Cup and get to like semi-final of the Champions League with Villarreal?
Villarreal, they lost to 6.
Oh yeah,
They lost to Liverpool, didn't they?
Yeah.
In the semis, but they beat Bayern and Juve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you've got to put it relative to what clubs he's managing as well, and
Yeah.
Also the thing with cup competitions as well is one bad performance you're out, right?
100%. Yeah, it's literally one performance make or break for you, isn't it? No, this is a great comment, man. AFC ways. This is what it's meant to be, mate. 100%. You know, we'd have different opinions, but this beauty of the sport. 100%, bro.
yeah. Just imagine how boring it would be if we had all like pretty much the same opinions.
Yeah, it's my big thing,
true.
right? I love a debate, right? Because sometimes it can change your mind because you think about things differently because someone's challenged you on it. The only things I want are a bit of respect behind it. And then the second thing would be explain to me why that's your view. Like, I might not agree with you, but they're the two things. And when you've got that, I think it's exactly what it should be on on sport or whatever you want to talk about, right? He's spot on there.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, guys, we're gonna get out of here. Big up the chat as always. Thanks for all the comments. Big up the panel, and you guys catch me tomorrow. We'll be back with match day, of course, against Fulham. We'll catch you guys there. And as always, come on, you Gunners.